All right.
Cool. With other organizations such as with other organizations such as MFF, Anime Twin Cities, MarsCon, BGMCon, and more, how should Minnesota Furs achieve our mission statement and still collaborate with our partners?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I know with MFF specifically, we work with them to like have our radios and everything like that. Um, so I think working with other cons is really good for achieving our mission statement and getting our message out there. So I think we should just keep doing what we're doing with other cons and working with them and establishing a stronger connection with them to help our con grow and help get our message out there as well.
Cool. Working on the board sometimes means working with individuals that you may not personally get along with. What are some ways you would handle this?
Um, we just have like icebreaker questions, get to know each other kind of type of questions. Um, Normally, while working at cons, I meet so many people that I don't know, and by the end of the con, we're all working together as a team, whether it be on a staff team or just people in general that I meet along the con. So meeting new people is always a great thing. Meeting new people that you work with to help the con run is just a great experience all around. I've never had a bad experience with other staff members. So something I look forward to, meeting new people.
What is your understanding of your fiduciary responsibilities if elected to the board?
I know for one, the board does things such as budgeting and oversight, and to make sure that we are in compliance in for the nonprofit legal definition for the state of Minnesota. Um, so for that, I have quite a bit of understanding being on the board of another company that does similar activities, not cons, but managing budgets, oversight, and making sure we're in within articles of organization or within our classification under the articles. Um, so I think I'd be all right with that one.
What strategies would you use to ensure Minnesota Furs remains a welcoming and inclusive space, not just for its members, but also members of the general public who interact with the organization?
I would say update our policies as needed. So if anyone's feeling left out or not included, we can always update the policies to make sure everyone's more including. For the general public, we have anyone can register, anyone can join the con. We don't block anyone that's really outside of that. So I think continuing to do that would be just fine as well. Um, but we could reach out to other communities. We could reach out to other conventions and have as much as inclusion as we want as we can. Um, as members of the general public, we have the walk that goes down for immigration. We do the walk, and a lot of the general public can see that. So we have a show that we're in the city at that time, and we show that they can also join in on the fun. They can join. They can register. They can see what we do. They can go to some of the panels and all that. So I think we just continue on with integrating with the city of Minneapolis and getting ourselves known.
How would you ensure transparency and accountability to the members of Minnesota Furs?
So normally when we do transparency, we're showing like these videos of the board meetings. We're doing um, like these town halls where anyone can join or anyone can voice their opinion, and things like this is what shows transparency. We have everything pretty much listed on the website where people can see what happens at these meetings. People can um, suggest their comments or suggest changes. Um, they can see what we're always up to on the board. Remember when we're doing all this. I think that's a really good show of transparency and accountability.
Nonprofit groups require funds to remain operational. What is your proposal on ways to provide more revenue streams for Minnesota Furs?
So one of the main ways that conventions specifically get funds, being nonprofit, would be like the merch table or registrations, and to maintain the overall budget for the con would be to make sure we're well within our budget when we are doing things like the cost of the hotel, the cost of catering, the cost of power, the cost of transportation or logistics. So making sure that we're well within that budget when we're doing the registration, when we're doing the prices for registration or the prices for dealers tent tables, the prices for any item in the merch store, that making sure that we're able to cover those costs.
If elected to the board, how will you handle yourself publicly when and if approached by the general public wanting to know more about Minnesota Furs?
So I would direct them to the website, so MNFurs.org, or any of the sites for the cons, so like for migration or Midwinter Frolic. Those are great places to get more information. Probably the most information out there. There's also the Telegram or the Discord whenever they're active, or they can reach out to any other staff member that knows more about the subject if they're wanting to go in depth on specific details. But most of the time, it will probably be the organization website where they can get most information.
Do you want to take a break?
I think we're good.
Okay, sweet. If you're good, I'm good.
All right.
As a volunteer organization, all of our staff are volunteers. What ideas do you have to prevent burnout for both others and yourself?
So for this, I've had experience with this, with staff members burning out, and at a time it's either they're giving all their hours to the con and they're not having a chance to um, enjoy it. So they're pretty much working the entire time on never off. Some may staff multiple cons and they're doing the same thing in multiple cons. So I would ensure that we're having breaks to where staff members can be relieved, where they can go enjoy the con and not have to work the entire duration. Um, like with recently the hours reporting, where the hours were hidden as people were using them as a leaderboard. That was a great example of making sure it's not being encouraged that staff members are working all these hours to basically attain a leaderboard. That they should be enjoying con and giving their spare hours if they want to, or if they want to do more, then they can do more. But we're not going to encourage burning themselves out. That was a great thing right there. So more ideas like that would be beneficial. More time off or having rotations or like rotations of the staff for different departments would be really good.
If elected, what are some of your goals that you'd like to accomplish with the organization over the next 2 years and why?
So one of the goals is I would like to see a lot more growth. This year or this past year, we've had access to the bottom floors, and it was a very great experience. A lot of the congoers like that we had more space, and the bigger we get, the more space that we have available to us. We could use all 5 floors at some point in the near future, and I would like to see that. I would like to see our numbers grow. I would like to see the amount of attendees in fursuits grow as well. I would like to still maintain that we have a fursuit parade with some cons starting to phase them out. I would still like to our cons still have something like that. With better organization, we could have better registration organization than some other cons to try to get ideas on how to streamline a lot more things so that we're known for having a really good registration system or good for having the parade still, having it very organized, not taking hours upon end to take a picture or to get the parade finished. So things like that would be some goals that I have for the future.
What are some words? What are some of your ideas for engaging with underrepresented groups within the Minnesota Furs community?
So one way I say is just we can always reach out. Some communities that feel underrepresented, um, specifically some of the ones that I know that just don't have any events, they don't have any panels. And what we could do is reach out to them, have them maybe host a panel, have help with hosting a panel, or having their own specific events at the con or at any of the other events that we host. So just engaging with the community more, making sure that we're representing as much as we can.
How do you define success for Minnesota Furs, and what metrics would you use to measure that success?
So I would say in attendance numbers and I would say the staff satisfaction. If the staff is doing really good and there was not many problems or any situations where staff are being asked too much of themselves, I believe that would be a very good metric. So when there's no problems, when attendance is going up, when um, participants in the con are leaving very good feedback and there's barely any negative feedback, I think that would be a very good metric for how the success is going.
What inspired you to run for a position on the Minnesota Furs Board of Directors?
Um, so Furry Migration was one of the first cons that I ever went to. It was actually one of the smaller cons I went to. I started when I started going to cons. I started at the very top. I went to some of the biggest cons, and the feeling of being invisible was very much there. So my first year going to Furry Migration, it was a lot smaller than the cons that I went to, and it's only my second or third con at this point. And being in a community where it's not that big and you can be seen is just something that was amazing. So the following years when I came back, I joined the staff team. I started volunteering out more, and it was actually a very good experience. So I'll keep doing it year after year as much as I can. So um, things like that.
What scares you most about being on the board?
Um, for me personally, I guess it's just the new responsibilities that I don't know what they're going to do, what I'll be doing. Let's say, how do I say this? Like I know the responsibilities, I just don't know how I will fit into this new position. Something I've never really done, but I've thought about for a couple of years, being on the board of a convention or something similar. Um, so I guess I'm just excited to be a part of this, but I'm also at the same time I'm pretty scared of being a part of it because it's something that's very new to me.
I'm skipping the community questions part because we didn't get any.
Okay.
If Minnesota Furs was to create its own mascot to represent the organization to the general public, what kind of animal would it be, and what would its superpower be?
So I'm not really familiar with the Minnesota area, but I would say an animal that's very representative of the greater Minnesota area, especially around like the Minneapolis region. If we could have an animal specific to that area. Um, I'm not familiar with what animals are there currently, but uh, as for superpower, well, let's see, it's a new one. Hmm. See, I don't know this one at this time. It's a good question. I've never had to think like this. Let's see.
It's fine if you don't have an answer either.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure at this time.
Something to think
I guess
about and
once
post
I,
to the
I
Discord
figure
later.
out an animal, yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that is it. Those were all the questions. Goes